Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Alvin. I'm a part-time reseller here in Singapore, and in today's video I'm just going to talk to you about a scam that I had to deal with on eBay. This particular scam, it surprised me, quite frankly speaking, because this scam, I did not encounter it throughout my eBay journey. I've been selling on and off on eBay since 2007. Of late, because I'm trying to sell down my toy collection, my collectibles, and I'm selling it on eBay primarily and then some on Carousel locally. This scam or this incident left me with a bad feeling that it may happen more often than not. Luckily, eBay sided with me. Well, technically they didn't side with me, but because of the eBay seller protection policy, I'm protected by it. And as with all scams, if you Google eBay scams on the internet, there are instances of eBay sides the buyer more so than the seller. And in this case, eBay didn't side anyone because this scam, it's a transaction not recognized scam. How it works is basically the buyer went to the payment provider and then he or she did not recognize the transaction and the payment provider blocked. It's a chargeback. It's something that there's no control on. eBay has no control over it. The seller even more has no control over it. And quite frankly, the buyer will get the money back because it's a chargeback. And for this to happen to anyone, unfortunately, you don't have any workaround around it. But when it happens to you, this is what I did. And before we go any further, this eBay scam, I believe is partly because of managed payments. But that I will digress. Because before that, when we were under PayPal, this didn't really happen, and PayPal took care of things when before it even happened. But for these instances, because eBay managed payments, eBay is the one collecting the fees and the amount. When they had to deal with it, we just had to believe in the system, so to speak. And for this, what I did was, quite frankly, the very first thing that you should do is to contact eBay. And rightfully so, because this transaction was $1,600, which I shipped to the buyer, and it's something that I took no notice of because first and foremost, it went through as a best offer. We ding dong a bit, the going back and forth on the price, and we settled on $1,500 with $100 shipping on it, totaling $1,600. This parcel was sent to US, and through Q Express, which previously, if I didn't know about Q Express, I wouldn't have sending this item across the world. So with Q Express, I actually could manage to send this item away. Tracking was through Q Express. It was on the way to the buyer that I got this dispute, and $1,600 payment hold was put on my account. It shocked me, the fact that it happened, and I was a bit annoyed. So again, as with everybody else, you will Google and see what sort of thing or what sort of response you should do. And there were a lot of horror stories, like some of the sellers couldn't get their money back. eBay sided the buyer, and then the seller wasn't even paid, wasn't even protected by the policy, the seller protection policy. And moreover, they even had to pay the $20 dispute fee, which was implemented because of managed payments. The first thing I did was to contact eBay. I contacted eBay through their live chat. I couldn't call them, partly because I'm based in Singapore. I could have, to be frank, but I wanted to try and ask through live chat and then see what they would say. And lo and behold, once I got in contact with eBay customer service, they put me to the relevant department, the fraud department I'll call it. And then this lady helped me along. She told me that for these incidents they can't do much. What eBay will do is to provide the evidence that on my side that I have to give within the short period of time before the dispute ends. Because if you don't reply to the dispute, it will automatically be in the favor of the buyer. So you had to dispute it. And because my item was en route, it was en route to the buyer. So tracking still shows on the way, and it wasn't delivered yet. This transaction had 2 tracking numbers because this large item was packed differently. So the smaller package actually arrived at the buyer, but I think because the buyer received it and then maybe disputed it, I don't know. But when I sent the item, I actually added the 2 tracking numbers on top of it. So the buyer could clearly see that there were 2 items going to him. And of course, the picture shows there's actually 2 boxes that was going to be sent to him. So there was no reason why he shouldn't be expecting 2 boxes. But again, once the first item reached him and it was delivered, then the dispute came. The eBay representative who was with the fraud department, I think, told me to gather as many evidence I could and as many things that I could show that my end of the transaction was good. Which means I needed to show that the tracking numbers are there, shows that it's delivered. If the item was above $750, had a signature tracking confirmation on it, which I had for the second bigger parcel. And last but not least is to show that I shipped to the correct address. Anyway, to put so many things onto one JPEG was a bit tedious, which the eBay representative told me to do it because just showing the tracking number wasn't enough. So what I did, which was the advisement of the eBay representative, is to show as many evidence that I could on this transaction. So what I put was the tracking numbers, the address that was correct on eBay, and of course what I did was the best offer deliberation between me and the buyer, because the best offer part shows that at least the buyer was actually buying into it. Who is accepting the best offer? It has to be the buyer, because if to say that the buyer did not have any reason to buy this item, this best offer thingy would show it. I put everything into one big JPEG, put it on file, and then I send it off. This dispute, with what I can see on online, it takes a while. I've actually asked eBay again through live chat 1 week later, roughly, if I needed any more evidence that I could provide. Because while I was waiting, the second parcel actually was delivered to the buyer, and the tracking actually showed signed for by the buyer himself with the address on it. USPS tracking actually works in this regard through QXpress. So if you're wondering if you need to use QXpress, you have to click on this to see how to use QXpress, which is fairly easy, and I will urge you to use QXpress irregardless. QXpress tracking really works, unlike SyncPost and even SpeedPost for that matter. I'm not sure whether they changed it, but I would urge you to use QXpress because it's cheaper anyway. Anyway, for this, I asked eBay representative about it, and they told me I just had to wait because I couldn't do much. I just had to wait it out and then see the outcome, which was nerve-wracking at best because the whole of $1,600 is a lot because of the fact that I've never had so much money held for a dispute. I've been disputed before, don't get me wrong. It's not that in my whole eBay journey, I've never been disputed for any transaction, be it for item that's not described, item non-delivery. It happens. When you sell on eBay, it happens, especially when you sell internationally. That will be another video altogether. But for this instance, I'm just going to show you how I dealt with this transaction not recognized scam. I'll call it a scam because what intrigued me was this buyer who had about 100 over ratings from various sellers, all claiming that he made a prompt payment. He did not actually leave any rating for anyone, which is a bit baffling. So for this, I will urge you that to maybe do your due diligence and then see whether this buyer is a legitimate buyer. But of course, for me, because I've been selling quite a few things to quite a few buyers, I don't really check. So that's on me, I guess. But for this instance, we just had to wait. And lo and behold, out of nowhere, my whole of the $1,600 was released. There was no email from eBay yet. The release was last week. The 1,600 was given back to me, just like that. And then later on, like 1 week later, I received an official confirmation that eBay actually released the disputed amount. And they say that the payment provider, the payment agency sided with the buyer. For what I know is because I've on the seller protection scheme, the release of the $1,600 was released back to me. So I'm glad that for this instance, eBay actually did a good job. I'll put it that way. And whether talking to eBay, the live chat, whether the evidence that I gave was sufficient not for the payment provider, not for the buyer, not for the dispute itself, but because of the fact that my items were done, the proper procedure was carried out when I sent this item out, maybe helped in this regard. That's why I could get my money back. It was nerve-wracking. And I thought I have to wait like maybe 90 days because eBay sellers on the different platforms on eBay, UK, US, Australia, also had some various degrees of transaction not recognized, and then they had to wait like up to 90 days. For me, I waited 1 month, which is 30 days, which is relatively short for a dispute like this. And I got my money back, which is $1,600. So yeah, I just want to let you know that it will happen. So, and what to do with this type of situation is, first is if you do receive any dispute on eBay, be it transaction not recognized, the item that's not described, first is to actually, maybe if you want, talk to eBay. This wasn't really talked about on any of the forums or any of the platforms that I've been through, the forums or YouTube. No one has actually talked about it. So I'm just going to hear and tell you that you should actually ask eBay about it before you do the next move. And then they might advise you better on this. For me, I'm quite glad that I talked to eBay about it. I gathered all the evidence that I could that was relevant to the case. Yes, the tracking really matters. Why? Because for this instance, because this, in regard, if you're selling a high ticket item, for instance, this is a $1,500 item with $100 shipping on top, you do need to have signature confirmation on it. So that's one. QExpress doesn't decide whether this item or another item has signature confirmation. They decide it based on the bulk of the size of the parcel. So for this regard, my advice to you is, if you're sending out a high ticket price item, you should most probably go by courier service. And yeah, also hope that this video is helpful to you. This video is something I don't wish upon any of you, but if you do, hopefully you see this video and do the necessary, and I hope that you make the necessary steps when you're selling on eBay. I will talk more about the other scams that's on eBay, which I've personally dealt with. And if you're keen to see more of me talking about the various situations that I've been on eBay, do like this video, do share this video, do comment below what sort of scam or what sort of dispute that you are facing or you have faced before, and then comment below and we'll talk about it more. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you when I see you. Take care. Bye bye.